I was in the mood to watch a comedy the other night, one I hadn't seen before, and I realized, oh, I'd never actually seen The Nutty Professor. I have seen the Eddie Murphy version. I'm not talking about that one. My thoughts on that one, the only thing I remember about it was that Eddie Murphy played every member of the family. Because that's what a lot of people talked about. That's what a lot of behind the scenes features tended to focus on. I thought, oh, that's cool. I did see the Nostalgia Critics review comparing the two of them, the old versus new. I was more interested in watching the Jerry Lewis version because I heard it was so interesting and weird and unpredictable. Plus, I'd never seen a Jerry Lewis film, and I know he's a very famous comedian, comic actor. That's the one I checked out. And I wanted to come to my own conclusions on it. For the most part, I actually do agree with the critics' assessment of it. It is pretty hit or miss in terms of the jokes. I guess I'll go through each individual story points. I have a few of my own opinions that he didn't talk about. I really love Lewis as the professor character. I find this, as the professor, I think he's so charming and so vulnerable and so adorkable. I love that humanity to him. I thought his goofiness was very charming. His voice actually didn't bother me, but the fact that he rambled on and on and on did start to grate on me. But I know that's part of the character and part of the point. It does add to him being a very socially awkward character. But the whole time you did see this gentleness and kindness and humanity to him, and you did also see the insecurity with him. You did see, why he would want to turn into somebody else. One thing I really liked, one thing that the critic didn't talk about that I really want to bring up is the love interest. Because usually in movies like this, the love interest is the most boring part of it. And even a lot of actors will say the least interesting part to play is the love interest. But this one is really, really fun and interesting. One thing I really liked is that she and the professor actually do have chemistry. Yes, it's a little weird that it's a professor, a teacher in love with his student. I will say they did look around the same age. All those college kids looked like they were in their 30s. The one who played the bully was actually 36. So I'm just going to say that they're both consenting adults here. Because they looked around the same age. So I wasn't actually thinking of the creepiness this time just because it really didn't look like there was a big age difference. It didn't really feel like, I know the rules are there, I know it's an abuse of power, but for some reason, just because of the actors, it didn't come off as creepy to me. In fact, I actually really liked their chemistry. I thought what's really, really sweet is that she actually liked him too. She was just as interested in him as he was in her, but you definitely saw his insecurity getting in the way. And she was funny, she was interesting, she was memorable, and I actually thought their chemistry was actually really cute. Especially that first scene where she helps him out of where instead of a locker, the police stuffs him into a cabinet, which is actually really funny. Definitely a play on the jock versus nerd trope. It's kind of funny, they're adults acting like they're in high school even though it's supposed to be college. That just adds to the charm and the weirdness of this world. With going off the love interest again, I thought her design was a little weird. You could actually see her roots. She wasn't a natural blonde. You could see some of her roots, especially at the ending scene. And the whole time I was really... I was wondering what the choice was, because her hair looked like a bad wig. She was wearing bows in it too. I thought, okay, she's got a pretty face, a very pretty woman. She's got a young looking face, but her hair looks like a bad wig, and she's dressed like a little girl, so she simultaneously looks like an adult, a young woman, and a child at the same time. It was very strange, but it's very memorable. Edith Head, by the way, a very famous costume designer, did all the outfits in this movie, and they look cool. I love the colors, I love the choices, I love the suits that the professor's character does wear. So yeah, wanted to talk about the love interest, because she is very unique. The dean is also very funny. The supporting cast in general in this is very, very good. Everyone's allowed to have a personality and be interesting. So that's really, really cool. I like the bird. That bird was great. I really, really like that. So, agree with the critic on that. I also agree with him in the fact that I didn't like the buddy love personality. I loved the professor because I saw this kindness and humanity and insecurity and goofiness with him. But I really didn't like Buddy Love's character. That character lost a lot of charm. He wasn't fun. He wasn't a fun jerk. He wasn't nearly as interesting to me. I get that I like how everyone reacts to him. That was really funny. He even wins over the dean in a really funny scene where he gets him to recite Shakespeare on the top of on the table, and then breaks his hat, puts it on him, and he keeps interrupting him, and then he pantses him. It's just a very funny scene. But I wasn't seeing the comedy with the other persona. It didn't feel nearly as fun. I think it would have benefited if it had more energy to it, like the professor character. I get there's supposed to be a contrast, but he didn't pull off the deadpan snarker nearly as much as he did the goofy guy. I think to work, I would have liked Buddy Love more if he had more energy, if he felt like he was having a bit more fun. And he didn't. He didn't feel like he was having nearly as much fun as he was as the professor. So there's that. But I did like the outfits. The outfits were cool, and I honestly, yeah, just, I get it's a parody of Dean Martin, but still. The outfits were cool. The personality was not fun. But I liked how everyone reacted to him. The extras were great. I really liked the cartoony nature of the jokes. I think the first third of it, like I said, the first third of it really is the funniest part for me. It loses a lot of comedy when he does transform into Buddy Love, but the supporting cast definitely makes up for it. And I really enjoyed this world. I liked how this world looked. I liked the goofiness. Oh, another fun joke. There's a couple times he opens his watch and when the Saints Go Marching in plays. That's fantastic. I'd say it really is a good film. I'm surprised more people don't talk about it. I'm actually surprised it doesn't come up as often when talking about great comedies of the 20th century. And I'll talk about the ending speech a little bit too, because I know a lot of people really like that. I was rewatching it, and it didn't strike as much of a punch with me personally. I guess because there were a couple really, really good lines in there, but I felt like I knew this already. I will say this, I wasn't the person who felt like I had to be somebody else or who had to change who I was. But I understand that for a lot of people do want to be someone else. A lot of people do play around with different identities. So for that, I do think, and it clearly resonated with a lot of people, the two lines I really, really liked were, to paraphrase one, he says, well, you spend a lot of time with yourself, so you might as well be with someone you like, which is amazing. That's a great line. And actually, also the effects on when he's actually changing back, that's actually really cool, how that's done with makeup and not CGI. You see it in cuts. But the other line I really liked was, oh crap, I forgot. Anyways, just the fact that he did mention that he wanted to be somebody else, his reasoning for why he wanted to be somebody else. I also really like that, it showed that he wasn't enjoying the aftermath of Buddy Love. Even though he was on a high, being a jerk and being so cool, but also above everybody, but you see how it affects him when he's back as the professor. You see the hangover, which is a very funny scene, and you see how the crossover makes him even more absent-minded, and it's definitely hurting his real life. So in a way, it doesn't hammer in the message as much as other be-yourself stories do. It shows you rather than tells you. You see the hangover effect of this, and you see the crossover in his double lives, and they don't gel. But you also see that the girlfriend really did like him for who he was to begin with, and that came through really, really clearly. Again, their chemistry was super cute. So it's a really good flick. It's clearly resonated with a lot of people, and I'm happy I finally checked it out. I love the weird unpredictability of it. I think it's a fun film. I definitely appreciate the creativity of it. It definitely had an old school screwball element to it, had a weirdness to it, had a bit of a Monty Python element to it. I really like some of the surreal jokes. I will admit, the one I didn't understand the flashback to his parents when he's a baby in a playpen. I rewatched parts of this film. I still didn't get that. And I like when the dean is, when he's imagining the dean as his bird. That was fun. And going off what the Nostalgia Critic says about the end, how after the speech about being yourself, the girlfriend ends up taking some of the formula for herself. I actually interpreted that as the girlfriend was going to use it on herself, not so much on Lewis again. She was clearly repulsed by Buddy Love, but I thought, oh, she's somebody who also deals with insecurities as well, because she has this one line when she's at the Purple Pit, where she says, oh, I bet the professor's out right now with a beautiful raven-haired girl. And I interpreted that line as, oh, he's probably having so much fun with a girl who's prettier than me. So it's one line, but I thought, oh, this person has some insecurities of her own too. So I thought it's implying that she's got to go through some of that be yourself message in her life, not so much to use it on him. That's my take on it. I guess my thought on the message was, hey, sometimes you just got to even if you see other people making mistakes, sometimes you just got to learn it for yourself the hard way. It's an excellent film. I'm actually surprised I didn't see it sooner, because I do like this weird style of comedy. I like the bright colors of it. I think the 60s have a very interesting aesthetic. Great jokes. Got to see a comedic great in action. I thought it had a good message. I thought it was delivered in a great way. It's a great film.